Editing Isaac here. I just checked my Spotify analytics and we are at 52 followers. Thank you guys so much for having me finally surpass the 49 stagnant followers. So that means there's a Q&A. So if you have any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments and I'll answer them possibly next video. Anyways, let's get to the actual episode.
My dumbass recorded this whole podcast episode, not realizing that it wasn't using this mic. It was using the MacBook speaker or microphone. Bruh. Alright, so basically that was to say that the first couple of minutes are going to be used with this computer's microphone. So the quality isn't going to be as good, but we're going to cut back to me yapping about the actual meat of this episode. So without further ado, here we go. Well, that's one way to start a podcast episode. He is not leaving. He wants to be part of the decor. Also, announcement, I have my own laptop now. Yeah, I decided to finally pull the trigger on a laptop and bought one. So this is going to be used for editing. It's going to be used for recording. And one of the biggest pains I had was trying to transfer files from one computer to another. This laptop currently has like 5 things on it. So if it crashes out, that is... What are you doing? Okay, we got everything pulled up. Funny story, I'm once again recording on the first Tuesday of the month. You're eating my laptop. I would have Simba all the time. Are you okay? I would have Simba all the time, but the problem is he's too much of a distraction. Like, we can't have 2 really cute people. This episode you probably won't see till later in the week. Once again, sorry, I need to stop procrastinating and get it done sooner. Get your butt out of the camera. No one wants to see that. Okay, he's settling in. We could work with this. Alright, so this podcast episode, without too much yapping, this intro's kind of been a big mess. I don't know how I'm going to edit this all together. First off, the setup has changed a bit. We are not using my S22 to record. If you're fine with the current quality that we're using, then I will keep using this. This is pretty easy for me. But if you want some higher resolution quality for whatever reason, let me know. And I can use my Pixel 7, which can record up in 4K, and the quality of it is so good. Alright, so today we are going to be discussing a movie that pisses me off. It was like one of the first episodes I ever did. It was just a commentary about the movie War of the Worlds, I think. If you guys haven't watched those, there's 2 episodes I did. That was back when it was just audio format. And if you like this type of content that you're about to watch, you can go back and watch those ones. If you want me to make more podcast episodes like this, I can do that in the future. But without any further ado, today we're going to be discussing the movie A Quiet Place Day 1. Now, right off the bat, I don't want to say that A Quiet Place Day 1 is a bad movie. It overall is a decent movie, but the reason why this movie pisses me off is compared to the other 2 movies that were released prior to this one, it falls so short in the Quiet Place trilogy. First movie was just a spectacular masterpiece. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite thrillers of all time, and it just was done so well. I honestly don't have anything negative to say about the movie. With only a $17 million budget, they did a great job. It was amazingly made, amazingly produced. I have high praise for this movie. Now, A Quiet Place Day 1 had a few glaring red flags off the bat. First off, it had a different director. John Krasinski was not the director of A Quiet Place Day 1. And if you know anything about movies that change directors, sometimes it can be a very significant shift and it just doesn't feel like the same movie. Little prom update, actually. I talked about it in the last episode. I went to prom with the girl. It was fun. Overall, great experience. She actually already had someone that she was interested in, so it really was just a friendship thing. Nothing too crazy happened. Basically just went there, and me and her went drifting around like all these dirt roads, and pretty fun night overall. So that's the little prom update. It was a fun time, and I did enjoy myself. So, yeah, here's a picture of me at prom. I thought I'd throw that in there really quick. They also changed, which I am most pissed off about, is the composer of the movie. The Quiet Place movie had an amazing composer. Marco Beltrami did a great job because this movie is different than other thrillers. It's a movie about people being quiet, which, it's in the title. But the ominous, somewhat strangely bright music in A Quiet Place is just done so well. It has this hopeful yet creepy vibe. And I highly recommend listening to the soundtrack of A Quiet Place 1 and 2. Sorry, somebody's falling off. Do you need help? You can sit up. Don't fall off. I know my pants are slippery. A Quiet Place Day 3 was made to kind of be a prequel. It was a prequel. That's why it was made. It was a prequel to the 2 films. And they tried to take the idea of the movie A Quiet Place is in a small town in New York. What if we do the biggest city in New York City, and just kind of change the aspect and change the setting so that you can have a unique and different feel and approach to the Quiet Place series, which seemed like a good idea. And I was obviously intrigued when I first saw the trailer. I thought, this was going to be a pretty decent movie, because the Quiet Place movies so far were really good. I was soon to be let down. Now, a little disclaimer about these movie reviews. First of all, I have not seen the 3rd installment of the Quiet Place trilogy in like 5 months. So please, for the love of everything in this world, take my review with a grain of salt, because I have not seen this movie in a fat minute. My impression walking away from it was kind of disappointed. Now, coming from the 2 movies that A Quiet Place 1 and A Quiet Place 2 were, it's really hard to live up or surpass those 2 movies, because they were really, really well made. But this movie could have done well. I think they should have, kept John Krasinski as the director. They didn't for this one. They went with this Michael guy. I think he's only directed 2 movies. Anyways, that's enough yapping for me. Let's get talking about A Quiet Place Day 1. So our movie starts off with our main character, Sam. Now, Sam is a terminally ill cancer patient who lives in hospice in New York City. She's kind of like a pessimist, which, if you were terminally ill, that's something I can't really blame you too much for. However, she really doesn't want to do anything. She just wants to stay in her room with her cat, Frodo. And don't get me wrong, I love cats, but there's more to life than cats. So, a nurse there named Ruben convinces her to go to this weird puppet show thing with the promise of pizza. You could get me to do anything with pizza. Just pull up with pizza and I am doing anything you ask me to, because dude, it's pizza. How could I say no to it? So they go to this puppet show, and honestly, it's kind of like this weird puppet show. I don't really get the point of it. Maybe I'm just not, intellectually in tuned as much as other people are, and I didn't really see the significance of the show. The puppet show. So the puppet show ends, and they're just kind of walking around the city. Sam is hyped for pizza. She stops at this convenience store to get some stuff. And as they're walking around, all of a sudden they see all these meteorites falling from the sky, and they hit the ground, and then all these monsters come out and they start killing people. And, Sam's panicking. She goes underneath this car, and she sees all these people getting killed and stuff, and she's basically traumatized. Then this ambulance pulls up. I think it's to help people. I think the ambulance is here to help people. That's the only reason ambulances are around, is to help people. So Sam gets knocked unconscious, and when she wakes up again, she is in the puppet theater. So Sam and a bunch of people are just hiding in this puppet theater. Basically, while they're in there, this one guy freaks out, and he's being really loud. And this one guy, Henry, which he's actually in the 2nd movie, he kills him trying to keep him quiet, which that was fun. And yeah, that was great. Anyway, but yeah, basically night comes along. Everyone's just kind of scared and traumatized. Sam is still bent on getting her pizza. So, she's kind of like, Ruben, she doesn't talk, otherwise they die. But he's like, Ruben, where'd the pizza at? Bro's like, we're in an apocalypse right now. Pizza is not as important. So in the night, the power grid cuts off, which kicks on the emergency generator. And the emergency generator is loud as frick. So Ruben, the nurse, trying to be the little hero he is, goes over to stop it. And he doesn't die as he's trying to stop the generator. He actually manages to stop the generator. Of course, in classic horror movie, or horror movie, he dies not because he failed to do the task, but because he succeeded to do the task, and as he was walking back, something happened. His shirt got caught, and it made a ripping noise, and that was enough for the monster to kill him. And so a traumatized and heartbroken Sam takes her cat, Frodo, and leaves the puppet theater to go to, I think it was Harlem? Yeah, it's Harlem. On our way to Harlem, this military, I I think it was a military helicopter, basically makes this a big announcement, like, just so you know, we are taking boats to some of the smaller islands because it turns out these creatures cannot swim. So make your way to these boats. And so all these people, they're going to these boats, and before you know it, the whole street is filled with people trying to go to the shore so they can leave. But all the collective small sounds make one big sound, and that attracts the monsters. So the monsters basically show up and start killing all these people, and turns into this huge stampede of people trying to avoid dying. So basically, in that huge commotion, Sam and her precious cat Frodo get separated. Frodo runs off, Sam runs off, and then we're introduced to our other main character, Eric. Now, Eric is an English law student from England. He's from the good old UK. So Eric, it just came out of this flooded subway, which, why the heck is the subway flooded, is my question. Like, they never explain it, and the subways are just completely flooded with water. Maybe I'm stupid and don't know very much about subways. Maybe there's like a lot of pipes in subways that if they burst, they would fill up the whole place. But I just don't think that would be the case. Like, why were they flooded? Maybe they explained it in the movie and I'm just dumb and don't remember. But it just makes no sense to me. Basically, Eric finds Frodo, the cat, and it leads him to Sam. And Sam is like, yo, they have these boats. Go to these boats. They'll take you somewhere safe. But, you know, he's like confused and in shock. So he's just like, I'm gonna just follow you actually, because I have no clue what's going on. And she's like, oh my gosh, whatever. He follows her to her apartment, which, like, no, that's dumb. I'm not gonna keep that in there. And the next day, she's heading off to Harlem, and he is like, I'm just gonna follow you. And she's like, bruh, okay, whatever. As they're walking to wherever they're going in Harlem, all of a sudden, you know, Sam alerts the creatures. So now they're running for their life. They go into the flooded subway, and there's this grand chase in the flooded subway, and basically they get out alive, and the creature following them drowns because, you know, they can't swim or whatever. After that whole chase, though, Sam's pretty beat up and tired, so as she's sleeping, Eric's like, I'm gonna go find her some pain medication. So he goes out looking for pain medication, and Frodo the cat hops into this construction site. So Eric, being the character that he is in the show, is like, I'm gonna follow the cat into the construction site and save it. I don't know if you know much about cats, but I can tell you this right now, cats do not need saving, okay? My cat is gone like half the day. I have no clue where he is, but I'm not running outside trying to save him because they're cats. Cats wander off, they do things, but they always come back, and if they don't, then that's sad. But 90% of the time, cats will return to you because you got food and a warm place to sleep. And you pet them. Because they deep down, cats really do love their owners. Maybe they don't. But who knows? Basically, he goes to save this cat from the abandoned construction site. And there's this scene where they're like, the monsters are like eating this thing on the ground. I don't know what it is. It's like a mushroom or like an egg pod thing. I have no clue what the significance of this scene is. They don't address it at all later on in the movie. Basically, he just sees them eating this thing. And, you know, he takes the cat and goes. So Eric returns to the church, and basically they talk to Sam. Oh yeah, by the way, they're in an abandoned church. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. They ended up in an abandoned church. So they're talking, and she's like, you know, the reason I want to go to Harlem so bad is because, you know, my dad used to play jazz at this pizza place, and I just want to visit there one more time, just take it in before I die. Because, you know, she's terminally ill, and there's a whole apocalypse going on, so realistically she's not going to live very long. Finally, they end up there, and there's like no pizza, so she's pretty disappointed because, once again, pizza. Eric, though, manages to find pizza from a different shop. The place is called Pasties? If that's a real place, I'm sorry, but that is a weird name. While they're there, she just kind of looks around. She finds this like music box, boombox thing. I have no clue. It will be significant later on in the movie, and I'll explain that. But for now, just know she has this music box thing. Eric does some like card trick to cheer her up, and I think it works. And after that, they're like, okay, let's go to the boats now and get out of here. So as they're walking to the boat, they notice like where the boat is, there's all these creatures along the shoreline. So there's no way that they'll be able to run and swim out to the boat or jump over to the boat because there's all these creatures everywhere. So Sam courageously sacrifices her life. She gives him her sweater and Frodo, and she's like, just go for it. And she starts smashing car windows, setting off car alarms, and making this big ruckus, essentially. All of the monsters start coming towards her, and she's like running and making a noise. Basically, she clears up this space for Eric and the cat Frodo to go and get onto the ship. And yeah, he gets on the ship, he's with the cat, and he finds this note from Sam, basically saying, take care of my cat for me, and thank you for reminding me how to live. The movie ends with her walking down this empty street, and she has her earphones in, she's playing music, and she's just like, oh, I'm gonna succumb to the inevitable, and she unplugs her earphones. I can't talk. Feeling Good by Nina Simone. I think that's how you say that. The movie ends with this monster behind her that cuts to black. And yeah, that's the movie. Once again, I apologize for the sloppiness of this movie review. It's really that's just how I do these movie reviews. And, if you liked it, I have 2 other episodes kind of yapping about it. But overall, this movie was honestly it didn't hold up compared to the other 2. It wasn't a bad movie by any means. It wasn't like a great movie. It was just an alright movie. I have to give it a solid 6 out of 10. I do think the whole plot with her having to go get pizza was a little silly. I know her wish was to just go to this place one more time. And, that's kind of like a noble cause, and I get that. But if you're going to die, maybe get on the boat. I think your father would want you to live. That plot, even though it was kind of goofy and I didn't feel like matched the whole vibe of The Quiet Place, overall the movie was alright. It's not a waste of time, but compared to the other 2, it's definitely the weakest out of the 3. It's just disappointing. Thank you for watching this. This was kind of like a rushed one. I procrastinated again. Hopefully next time I'll actually have a thought out and I'll be able to sit down and do a coherent podcast episode. Also, this is the second time I was in this location, so if you guys like it, let me know. I'll have a poll, and if you prefer I record in this location, this will be the new recording location. Thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Love you guys.